What's up, peoples? This is a quick live stream status update. So I did a couple short videos trying to neutralize the transportation inflation. And the title of this video is Uncle Sam, where did you get that money, yo? And that's the question that we need to always bring forth. So Uncle Sam is the turnpike and the commission people. Uncle Sam is the IRS. And when the commission people for the turnpike and the bridges and the tolls uh, are asked, hey, where did you guys get your money from? They're going to say, we got it from the Internal Revenue Department, either at the city level or the state level. And um, they're going to say, we stopped collecting tolls from the people. And this is a worldwide operation. So, uh, what's going to take place? What's going to take place is the the IRS, they're going to go through their tax collection process, but there's a special process if we stop immediately collecting tolls. The IRS and the city treasury and the governor treasury, they need to immediately cut a check to these people, the toll people and the bridges people. So this is the locked in value for 50 years or 100, and they're going to get this value every single month. So it's going to be the ever since the toll pike thing opened up, right? You're going to take the lowest number, and then you take the highest number, and then you find the middle number in between, which is the median, right? You add those three up, you divide it by three, and that's the number that every single treasury at the governor level and the state level is going to lock in with law or a mandatory mandate or something. And that's their locked in budget. So they get this every single month after they stop collecting tolls. So we would have to plan it in advance. So let's say in the end of July, we would have to plan this for September of 2026 to stop collecting the tolls from the people. So what happens is they're going to get a check at the end of September or whatever their accounting cycle is. So we got to figure out that part too. So normally my brain is functioning on the first of the month. So I'm thinking they retrospectively account for things at the city level. So they got to collect it first and then see how much they got and then pay out stuff and then file some kind of like debt claim to sell a bond or something. So this is zero debt because we're going to apply it to the day rates, the C3 currency. So um, in September of this year, it's possible for us to get rid of the transportation inflation that's pegged within the bridge and toll and the road sectors. So prices will drop. Uh, but the thing is, we got to figure out, is that necessary? Because there's a lot of debt. So if we don't drop the prices for about 6 months, these companies could pay off their debt, their corporate debt. And what happens is the banking system gets stabilized rapidly, and uh, the employees could keep their same wages, because if the prices fall, what happens is you don't have enough money to pay the wages. So we got to keep the retail prices fixed for a little bit before we start giving the discounts and lowering the prices. So that's out of the three currencies, C1, C2, and C3. That was C3 operations. So C3, it gets rid of um, transportation inflation a little bit, and C1 is way more easier than C3, because C1 is the healthcare system, and it's a fixed system. So that could go last, because we could run the healthcare credit card debt, and the IRS could bail out the banks, and they could just do the paperwork later, make sure everything is accounted for, because it takes 52 years to go from $1 an hour, 40 hours a week, $2. The next year is $2 an hour, 40 hours a week. The next year is $3 an hour, 40 hours a week. So that takes 52 years. So that's the easiest part. And based on my ID, you already know how much money is on that account, because you have my age and my birth date on that form. So that's the safest out of all of them. The most difficult one is the C2. The C2 is the currency exhaust system, and that's the double deposits with the bank of 30%. So the banks could still use uh, the joint operation between the banks and the IRS, and the lockbox that takes in the revenues for the IRS and processes the transactions. So when you file your taxes, you could pay your 30% tax, right? If you're an independent contractor or self-employed. And what happens is that the bank pulls it in and locks it in, and uh they basically send it off to the treasury to be held. Once it's held, that doesn't get used anymore. It's like a dead currency. It went to the graveyard. So that 30% of your check for um your self-employment, that went out. So if you're like a government employee, like a FBI agent, ambulance driver for the city, when you deposit your check, it goes through the double deposit in the bank. So it's right away. You don't owe any money at the end of the year. So all you do is you file for your annual raise with your C1 currency, and you get more money to pay off your healthcare. So um, the expenses for the C2 level, that's where it gets a little tricky, because if you're trying to write off something and you're doing double deposits, and you're trying to pay you're connected to the banking system, uh what happens is the banks take out too much money. So you have to redo your accounting and account for your expenses. So um your expenses, let's say you're doing Uber, um it could be tires, it could be the gas, it could be, little things that you use for the Uber. So um what happens is you end up getting a refund at the end of the year. So we would have to set up the offices or the committees to oversee the proper accounting procedures to make sure Uber drivers get back their proper money at the end of the year. Because the bank with the double deposit took it out already. So um, there's also the standard mileage rate. If you could get that as closest as possible to some kind of like average uh, value, that would be an easier thing. So, uh, the day rate is 100% taxable. You're getting $300 a day, 5 days out the week, and that is not your normal earnings. So it's a tri-currency financial system. That means you earn three checks every single day, work like throughout the work week, and you're earning a C1, a C2, and a C3. So the expenses. Oh, let's say you go to an accountant and they want to like do the math. That's more money out of your pocket. So they might charge you a fee, and that would be either you want to do the uh itemize itemizing or the standard deduction. The standard deduction should be the easiest, but the C2 sector is the most technical and the most difficult to set up and manage while having a GOP uh, scatterbrain management of the government. So everything is going to stabilize soon for everybody. Um, Back to the C1. So I mean the C3 currency. So that is the it's like a general account, and the IRS could just like apply it to every single tax filing that they get back because it's a fixed rate system. So uh when you say Uncle Sam, where did you get your money from? We got it from our C3 day rate financial system, and every taxpayer gets $300 a day, 5 days out the week. So uh the money's there, and the next account is to open up two new checking accounts, an international one and a national one, and that's not associated with the C3 because you have to float that account. Uh, Transportation logistics is too elastic, so you can't fix a permanent peg or a rate against it. So you just have to wait for the transportation costs to come in and basically always maintain the budget for it and pay it out, make sure the bills are paid on time. So uh that's basically the gist of where Uncle Sam is getting their money. And yeah, that's all I got. Um what should Uncle Sam do with C2 currencies while people are now sending their money to a double deposit banking system? So now Uncle Sam reaches into the C3 currency, and basically the C3 uh the last the budget, if they working on projects and they come up with a budget, the new budget is where they're going to cut the check from, or the journal, put it into the journal, and then they're just going to pull the money from the C3 account. So it's a bunch of money in the C3 accounts, and it's enough to cover all the government projects worldwide for infrastructure and like stabilizing all the banking systems. So yeah, that's all I got for this live stream. EJ Wiley got to go, peoples.